The number one makeup question I get is how do I take my brows from this to this as somebody who has a very light blonde hair and basically no brow hairs at all. As a girl with very blonde hair, I obviously have literally no brows. I have to do all the work up close and personal, in depth, as best as I can. I always do brows after my skincare. Once you have all your skincare on, your first step is going to be cleaning the palette of where you're going to be drawing your brows on, just to make sure no pilling happens and there's no product underneath where we're placing these waxy and like pencil-like products. Morphe is my favorite brand of brow pencil. It's what works best for me. I've been using it for about a year now. I love their regular brow pencil, but I prefer their nano. It just kind of depends on what I have on hand. I'm going to go in with the shade Cold Brew, and the first thing I'm going to do is brush out my brows and brush them up just so that I can kind of get a shape going. I always go front to back. I just start where my natural brow starts and I start making hair-like strokes upwards all the way back. I'm holding it very lightly at the end here so I can control the stroke of the pencil, and I'm just going very lightly, kind of just coloring in and making little like grass-like hair marks. I like to push them upwards and a little bit slanted so that we're lifting my face with the brow. Repeat this process until you're happy with the opacity of your brow hairs. It's going to depend on the person, and it also depends on what type of glam I'm doing. If I'm doing something more natural, this is typically really good. If I'm doing more full beat, sometimes I go a little bit darker on the brows. This is where we get into being a real artist. I don't have a very good arch naturally, so I draw it on. All I do is kind of make a very sharp edge here and then pull it straight down. Just like a little, don't really know how to describe it. I'm just like making a line here and then drawing it down. It's like a little connecting the dots, if you will. Once I have that shape created, I go in and fill in the bottom of my brow, especially on the tail end, pretty dark. I always prefer your brows to be a little bit darker on the edge and then lighter as you go in. I just kind of color this in. I don't worry too much about doing hair-like strokes on the back end. I'm gonna show you guys how I do this side in real time, just speed it up so that you can kind of see the full process. As you may have noticed, I've not really messed with the front of the brow. I like to do a lot of detail work with an actual brow pen. This is the L'Oreal Faux Brow in the shade Dark Blonde. This is a 2-prong brow stroke pen, so you have 2 different prongs to work with. Hold the pen the very same way, and I start in the middle of my brow and go outwards, kind of just in an upwards flicking motion. And I'm very light-handed with it so that it starts to create that natural effect. The front is where I have to get a little bit detailed. I kind of hold my pen up like this so that I don't make the brows look weird, but I still am going at a slanted angle so they look natural. On the tail end, because it is a little bit slimmer down there, you kind of have to be careful, but I still just kind of do the same thing. Very lightly dragging it down. I'm gonna bring y'all a little bit closer so you can see just a little bit better what I'm doing, but I literally am just very lightly drawing on these hair strokes, and then towards the back, like I said, kind of just flicking it out. Now in real time, I will show you over here. Obviously, from what you can tell, my eyebrows are sisters, definitely not twins, but they look pretty similar. And once I'm happy with the shape, I go in with my brow gel. This is the L'Oreal Brow Lamination. I like a feathered laminated brow look. I just take my natural hairs and push them up against the grain and kind of backwards. Like that. Not working with much brow hair, so like I kind of have to be pretty careful with this, but I'm brushing the hairs backwards and upwards and then slicking them down. These are what my brows look like. If you want to, you can clean up around your brows. I don't usually do that. I don't like a super like cut, clean, crisp brow. I just want them to be feathery and fluffy. Doing my brow routine now takes me about 3 to 5 minutes depending on the day. I cannot stress this enough. Brows are something you have to practice. I was not good at brows for the longest time, and my brows always change year to year. I noticed from pictures. This is just my current brow routine. I always get questions on how I do my brows, so I figured I would show you guys. Let me know if this helped. I love you guys so much. Bye.